Hello everybody and welcome to the School of Life with Sonny. Why learn from your own experience? Well, you can learn from other people's experiences. Again, I'm here with a topic I promised to pick up on in the last video: how to prevent divorce. I think who is a better person to tell you than a person who has gone through it and who has picked a few things here and there. I feel like I've been in both worlds. I've been married for 18 years, divorced after 21 years, separated for 4 years. So I feel like I've tasted both worlds. I've tested both worlds, and of course I've been divorced for 6 months now, and you don't have to go through your own experience if you can learn from other people's experiences, and that includes navigating the divorce process, navigating the challenges and the pain that you would go through in your divorce. Like there's so much that you can learn from other people that you really don't have to learn by yourself. So let me just dive into today's topic. So I said I was gonna talk a bit about how to prevent divorce. But first of all, question is, can divorce be prevented? Can you remember how many times you've said that D word? How many times you've brought it in your marriage? Could be the first year, now you're in your 20th year. Could be the first year and now you're in your 6th year. Could be probably it's never come up. Sometimes it's in your head. Sometimes you're saying it because you really want it. Sometimes you're saying it because you want your partner to maybe do something, realize that things are not right. Probably you've tried all means of communication, and I know you're like, this is what I want, and probably you don't even mean it, so I don't know whether it's ever come up to you. When people tell me that they are done in their relationships, I love to ask them to unpack the done. I think I've said before that I'm a therapist, and so when someone tells me I'm done, I love hearing what done means, and I love unpacking the done. So tell me, what does done mean? I'm done. I'm done with what? What are you done with? What are you done with? So that's a question I'm throwing to you. Sometimes you may just feel like I'm done, but really, what are you done with? What are you done with? Probably it's you who needs to work on some stuff. Probably it's your partner who needs to work on some stuff. So it's good to unpack that done. What does it mean? List down a few things. But divorce can be prevented, and the best time to prevent divorce is, from the School of Life, is before you marry and before you divorce. That's from the School of Life. No research anywhere. So before you marry and before you divorce, that's the best time to prevent divorce. And when I say before you divorce, I don't mean before you sign the legal documents. I mean before you get to feeling done, before you get to starting to speak about divorce, before you get there. What got you there? What got you guys there? What got you there? So before you divorce is the best time to prevent divorce. Before you get to that point where one partner is feeling suffocated, the other partner is feeling not heard, not understood, that is the best time to address issues. And there's so many avenues to address your issues from. So let me start with before you marry. So I've said the two times you can prevent divorce is, number one, before you marry, and number two, I'm a little bit under the weather today. We've had a cold here in my house. There's a bug, I think, going around here. It's so cold here. So before you marry and before you divorce. Let me talk a bit about before you marry, because I can't say much. I have so much to say about BYM, and that's something I'm going to be talking about. Like it's long term. It's a long term thing, because I feel like, as I mentioned, prevention is always best, right? So before you marry, I think we are jokers. We are jokers, because we take marriage so casually. We walk into marriages so casually. not having done things that you're supposed to have done. And marriages have survived. We did marriage for 18 years. 18 years is not a short time. It's a long time. Those are many years. And probably I might not have, or we might not have done the many things that I'm gonna be talking about. And today I'm just gonna throw a drop in the ocean. It's gonna be a very, 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 very small drop. But we lasted 18 years, and those are not the things that broke us. Could have been, maybe they are the things that broke us, but I wouldn't say they are. I think with time, it just makes it very difficult. It makes your coming together very difficult, probably makes your first years very difficult. And there are people who prolong with issues like this, the issues that you were dealing with the first year. You're not supposed to be dealing with the same issues the fifth year and the 10th year. You're supposed to be growing. There are very many mistakes to be made every day. You don't need to repeat a mistake. There are very many things that you can do differently on a single day. So I'm talking about background check. Background check is a very, very first thing that you're supposed to do. It's a very, very first thing that you're supposed to do. Can you imagine when you're going for a job interview? Imagine what you do when you're going for a job interview. This is a job that you can change anytime that you want to. For you to prepare for the interview, you have to do a background check of the organization, for you to know what they're going to be asking you about and all that. But now when you get employed, they have to do a background check on you. They have to probably, maybe in Kenya, you'd be asked for a certificate of good conduct, of course, depending on where you're going to work. Here in America, they have to do a background check on you. They have to do a background check on you. Some organizations will ask you for medical reports of different things. You'll be asked for, nowadays they're actually going to the extent of going to your socials to check out what you write about, what you talk about. People do a background check when they're going to when they're going to hire you, because they want to make sure that they're hiring the right fit. They look at your values. That's what you have on your CV. They want to say, okay, do your values augur well with our values? Are we compatible? Are you compatible with the organization? Then how comes when we're getting married? How comes when you are getting married? How comes right now you're planning your wedding, you're planning your everything that you're planning to get engaged to that guy, or you're seeing someone. How comes there's so much that you have not done? How comes there's so much you have not done? And when it comes to relationships, it entails knowing someone's values. Are their values aligning with my values? Are their beliefs aligning with my beliefs? Spiritually, are we aligned? Do they agree with what I agree with or not? And I'm not saying that when you don't agree on something, you cannot work together. But it's good for you to know before. It's good for you to know before and see, is this something that I'm willing to work? You don't want to get shocked when you get in there and someone is telling you, I don't believe in getting children. No, we don't agree. That one, we don't agree on that. We don't agree on that. There's so many things that you would want to know. I know not everything is going to come up in your courtship or in your relationship, but you should try to flesh out as much as you can. I want to know about your family background. I want to know about the things that ail your family. And again, I say not because I want to leave you. When I know that, okay, we struggle with this thing in my family, it's better for you, the two of you, to hold hands and pray against whatever it is before you become one. It's easier for you to now to hold hands and pray against the things that you're supposed to I was gonna say fight against, the things that let me just say fight against, because it's a spiritual war. We don't war against flesh and blood. It's a spiritual thing. So if there's spiritual things that we need to break, let's break them before, not when we are in there and now we are fighting yours and we are fighting mine, because we've already become one. It's easier for me to to pray with you, and we break yours, and then we can pray for me. We can take time and pray. Let's meet, I don't know, in Arboretum and break these things. So it's very, very important to do a background check. It's very important to do a background check. I have so much to say about that, but I'm about before you marry, but I don't wanna talk a lot. I really want to make my video very short, and I know I've already gone like beyond what I really wanted to talk about. So as I was saying, like, the only thing that people are good at checking nowadays is the check. People are not don't want to check a lot of other things, and love is not enough. Love is not enough. Love will carry you through some things, but honestly, not in everything. Values are needed. Compatibility is needed. There's so many other things that will carry you, that love, that go beyond love. So don't be crazy sick saying, oh, but I'm in love. Yo, open your eyes, okay? Open your eyes. So the second thing is, before you divorce. I've said the second reason, the second thing is before you divorce. So I always love going back to the Bible. So the Pharisees come to Jesus and they ask him, Jesus, like, what do you say about divorce? And they tell him what Moses said. Let me read for you what they tell him. In Mark chapter 10, from verse 4 to verse 9. These are the Pharisees. So they said, Moses permitted a man to write a certificate of divorce and send her away. That's their wife. It was because, this is Jesus responding, and Jesus tells them, it was because your hearts were hard that Moses wrote this law. Jesus replied, but at the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh, so they are no longer two, but one. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. So Jesus was telling them, you know what? I mean, I know this is what Moses said, but Moses said that not because this is what I ordained for this to be, but Moses said that because of the hardness of their hearts. And I started to interrogate this hardness of heart, and I was like, oh my days, like what isn't it? What is not in the Bible? Like, the Bible has all answers. The Bible has every single thing, everything. Like, the reason why divorces happen is because of the hardness of heart. Every other thing is around the hardness of heart. The things below, the things above, everything is about the hardness of heart. The infidelity is about the hardness of heart. The anger, the unforgiveness, the bitterness, the fights, like the physical, you being physical with your spouse. I don't want to say wife, because I also know that there are men that are being battered. Everything is around the hardness of heart. Everything is around the hardness of heart. So there is the answer. Can divorce be prevented? If hardness of heart can be prevented, then divorce can be prevented. How can you watch someone ail, someone breathe in pain, and you walk past them? Hardness of heart. How do you I mean, like everything, when I look at so many things, when I look at the whatever level of abuse, physical, emotional, psychological, I mean, whatever abuse that you can think about, everything is about the hardness of heart. Everything is about the hardness of heart. So I want to leave you with a few questions, with a few reflection questions. with a few reflection questions. Hardness of heart shuts you down emotionally. It shuts you down physically. It shuts you down spiritually. Hardness of heart creates a barrier or a wall between you and your partner. Hardness of heart just makes everything so difficult. But where does the hardness of heart come from? Who is making whose heart hard? Who is making whose heart hard? Is it there's a poem I've written, and I wish I had opened it. Let me open that poem. So there's this poem that I've written. It's called A Foot on My Heart. A foot on my heart. You're stepping on me. I am sorry. Yeah, I forgive you, but you have not removed your foot. Yeah, I'm very sorry. I forgive you, but please remove your foot. I said I'm sorry. I forgive you, but your foot is still on mine. You're so petty. I forgive you, but you never removed your foot. My feet hurts. You never let go of things. I forgive you, but the weight of your foot is unbearable. You love complaining. I forgive you, but please remove your foot. It hurts. You don't forgive. I forgive you, but my foot is now so sore. I can't walk. You love keeping a record of wrongs. Please remove your foot. You are nagging. So, that is a heart that is being hardened, right? When you say you're sorry and you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, the same thing over and over again, then you say, oh, you are unforgiving. Who is making whose heart hard? So stop making people's hearts hard. Stop making your spouse's heart hard. If you love repeating the same thing, stop it. Like whatever it is, that is just an example. And I just remembered that poem. I wrote it when I was studying. And sometimes I read those poems and I'm like, who wrote these poems? Because I mean, if I was in the place I am today, I wouldn't even the things that I can't even remember. I cannot even write such stuff, because I feel there's so much that has happened to my heart and in my heart. A lot of healing, and I really, really, really thank God. So for you to reflect, my darlings, my dear people, really, please, I want you to reflect on this. Whose heart is hard? Whose heart is hard? Is it your heart? Is it their heart? Is it both of your hearts? And could be both of your hearts. So if it's both of your hearts, why? What is happening? What is bringing this hardness of heart? What is hardening your heart? Why are you hardening your heart? Why? What is making you harden your heart? Why are you hardening it? Is it because boundaries keep being pushed, or is it because you want your way and that's the only way you want it? I mean, what is making you harden your heart? Could things be different if you softened your heart? Could things, not the other person's, but your heart, if you softened your heart, could things be different? What would change if you stopped hardening your heart? What would change if you stop hardening your heart? Just think about that guy who hardened his heart, the person that shocks me in the Bible, and probably I'm like that person, and probably you're like that person, and you keep getting shocked by Pharaoh. Like, Pharaoh, how could you see this go wrong and you kept hardening your heart? How do you see the first and the second and the third plague and you still harden your heart? So what would change if you stopped hardening your heart? So yeah, So can divorce be prevented? Yes, before you marry and before you divorce. And again, I've said divorce is not like the final. It's not when you're signing that final legal paper. It's that process. Like you know it when it's when you don't talk to your spouse 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. You know what happens when you stop being that caring person that you're supposed to be. I mean, I don't even need to go into that. So guard your heart, guard your marriage, keep your marriage door closed, locked, create boundaries, don't open it for all and sundry. I could talk about that for so long. So I hope that you can have some time to reflect on before you marry, like don't make rash decisions, and before you divorce. I hope that this season, which is a very, very interesting season because families come together. This is where you and your spouse, you and your family are going home. So many things are happening. Guard your heart, guard your marriage, keep your family at the forefront. Keep your family at the forefront. When you go home, protect them from those that they're supposed to be protected from. Then you call them on the side if they're misbehaving and just correct them on the side. Yeah, so that is it from School of Life today. We are rebranding a bit, so keep it locked, and I believe that the new year is gonna be amazing. God bless you. Keep well, and keep shining. Check out.